Emma Grayson was a good pilot. She loved flying her small plane over the ocean. This time, she was alone. The sky was clear and the sun was bright. Emma felt happy and free. But then, dark clouds came. The weather changed quickly. A storm was coming. Emma tried to stay calm. She knew storms could be dangerous. The wind started to blow harder, and the rain began to fall. Her plane shook in the strong wind. The sky turned dark, and lightning flashed around her. Emma held the controls tightly. The storm got worse. The plane's instruments stopped working. The radio was silent. Emma tried to call for help, but no one answered. She felt scared but focused on flying the plane. The turbulence was very bad. Emma struggled to control the plane. The controls did not respond well. She saw the waves crashing below her. The storm was pulling the plane down. Emma knew she had to get ready to crash. Through the rain, she saw an island. It was small and covered in jungle. It was her only hope. She aimed for the island, hoping to find a safe place to land. The plane kept shaking. Emma's heart was pounding. As she got closer to the island, the plane hit a tree. The plane spun out of control and crashed into the jungle. Emma felt a sharp pain, and then everything went black. Emma slowly opened her eyes, her head hurt, and her body felt sore. She was still in her plane, but it was badly damaged. Emma unbuckled her seatbelt and moved carefully. She saw a cut on her arm. She had some injuries, but nothing too serious. Emma climbed out of the wreckage and looked around. The jungle was dense and green. She could hear birds and insects. The storm had passed, and the sun was shining again. She took a deep breath and tried to stay calm. She was alone on an unknown island. Emma needed to check her supplies. She went back to the plane and found a first aid kit, some food, and a knife. These things would help her survive for a while. She used the first aid kit to clean and bandage her cut. Emma knew she had to stay positive. The plane was too damaged to fix, and there was no way to contact anyone. She was really alone. She had to find food, water, and shelter. She also needed to think about how to signal for help. Emma decided to explore the area. She wanted to find a safer place to set up a camp. She walked through the jungle, feeling the heat and humidity. The ground was rough, and she had to be careful not to trip or get hurt again. As she walked, Emma saw a stream. She felt relieved. Fresh water was very important. She drank some water and washed her face. The cool water made her feel better. Emma knew she had to stay strong and focused. Looking around, she saw a good spot to set up a simple camp. It was near the stream and had some shade. Emma collected some wood and leaves to make a shelter. She worked hard, using her knife to cut branches and vines. Emma made a small shelter. It wasn't perfect, but it would keep her safe for the night. She started a fire with some dry wood and a lighter she found in the plane. The fire would keep her warm and scare away wild animals. Emma knew she needed to make her camp better. Her shelter was simple and not very comfortable. She needed strong branches for the frame, leaves and vines for the roof and walls, and stones to make it stronger. She also wanted to make a comfortable sleeping area with leaves and soft materials. Emma found a good spot near the stream, surrounded by trees for protection. The ground was slightly higher so it wouldn't flood during heavy rain. She marked the area with stones and went back to her camp to gather materials. First, Emma collected strong branches for the frame of the shelter. She used her knife to cut down some sturdy branches, making sure they were long and thick enough to support the structure. She carried them back to the clearing one by one, feeling the strain in her muscles, but also a sense of accomplishment. Emma knew she had to learn more about the island to survive. She decided to spend the day exploring and finding new resources. She packed her bag with her knife, flashlight, and some food. She marked her camp with stones so she could find her way back. Emma set off into the jungle. She walked carefully, making sure to leave markers along her path so she wouldn't get lost. She pushed through thick plants, listening to the sounds around her. Birds sang above her, and sometimes she heard small animals in the bushes. Emma found a clearing with a large rock in the middle. The rock had strange markings. They looked like they were made by people, not by nature. Emma felt excited. Maybe this island had a hidden history. Emma studied the markings closely. She couldn't understand them, but she knew they were important. She remembered the place, planning to come back later with more supplies. Maybe these markings would help her understand more about the island. As she continued her exploration, Emma found a small grove of fruit trees. She recognized some of the fruits from her survival training. She knew they were safe to eat. She picked as many as she could carry, feeling happy for the fresh food. Emma also found a patch of wild vegetables. She carefully dug them up, thinking about how she could cook them over her fire. With these new food sources, she felt more confident about her ability to survive on the island. Emma discovered another freshwater stream. This one flowed into a small pond. The water was clear and cool. She filled her pot and drank deeply, feeling refreshed. This new water source was closer to her camp and would make it easier to stay hydrated. Emma decided to explore the area more in the coming days. She went back to the clearing with the large rock and the strange markings. She found an old path leading from the clearing. The ground was more even, and there were fewer plants growing on it. She decided to follow the path, hoping it would lead to more clues about the island's history. The path led Emma to a hidden grove. In the centre of the grove was a large stone structure, partly covered in vines and moss. It looked like an ancient altar or shrine. Emma's heart raced with excitement. This was a significant find. Emma approached the stone structure carefully. She could see more carvings on it, similar to the ones she had found earlier. These carvings were more detailed and complex. They showed scenes of people performing rituals, surrounded by symbols of nature and power. Emma spent time studying the structure. She was fascinated by the artistry and the mystery it represented. The carvings seemed to tell a story of an ancient civilization that had a deep connection with the island and its natural elements. Emma noticed a small opening at the base of the structure. It was partly covered by vines and moss. Curious, she cleared away the vegetation to reveal a narrow passage. The passage was dark, and she couldn't see where it led. Emma felt a mix of excitement and caution. She knew she had to explore it, but needed to be careful. Emma took out her flashlight and shone it into the passage. The light revealed a narrow tunnel that seemed to go deep into the structure. She decided to go inside, hoping to find more clues about the ancient civilization. She squeezed through the opening and carefully made her way down the tunnel. The tunnel was cool and damp. The air was filled with the scent of earth and stone. Emma moved slowly, her flashlight illuminating the path ahead. The tunnel walls were covered in more carvings, similar to those outside but even more intricate. Emma felt like she was walking through the pages of an ancient book, each carving telling a part of the story. Emma reached a small chamber. The chamber was circular, with carvings covering every inch of the walls. In the centre of the chamber stood a stone pedestal. On the pedestal was a small ornate box. Emma approached the box with reverence, feeling the weight of the history around her. Emma carefully opened the box. Inside, she found a rolled-up piece of parchment and a few small artifacts. The parchment was old and fragile. She unrolled it carefully and saw that it was covered in the same symbols and markings she had seen on the walls. Emma couldn't read the symbols, but she knew they were important. The artifacts were small and beautifully crafted. There was a small statue of a figure holding a staff, a piece of jewellery decorated with intricate designs, and a metal disc with a hole in the centre. Emma felt a sense of awe as she held each item. These objects were part of the story of the ancient people who had lived on the island. Emma knew she had to document her findings. She took out her notebook and began sketching the carvings and artifacts. She wrote down her observations, hoping to piece together the story of the ancient civilization. She spent hours in the chamber, absorbed in her work. Emma carefully placed the artifacts and parchment back in the box and closed it. She took one last look at the chamber, feeling a deep connection to the history it contained. Emma made her way back through the tunnel and out into the grove. She felt a sense of accomplishment and excitement. She had made significant progress in uncovering the island's secrets. Emma reflected on her discoveries. The ancient civilization had left behind a rich history, and she was just beginning to uncover it. She felt a renewed sense of purpose and determination. There was still so much to learn, and she was eager to continue her exploration. One night, Emma heard a faint whisper. She looked around but saw nothing. The whispering grew louder, as if carried by the wind. Emma stood up, holding her flashlight and knife, ready to investigate. The whispering seemed to come from all directions, making it hard to pinpoint its source. Emma's heart raced as she walked around. The whispers were unintelligible but persistent. She felt as if she were being watched. Emma tried to stay calm and focused. She decided to move closer to the ruins, thinking the sound might be connected to the ancient site. As she approached the grove, the whispering intensified. The air around the ruins felt charged with energy. Emma shone her flashlight around, but saw nothing out of the ordinary. However, the feeling of being watched grew stronger. She took a deep breath and stepped closer to the stone structure. Suddenly, the whispering stopped. The silence was even more unsettling. Emma felt a chill run down her spine. She looked around, trying to understand what was happening. The carvings on the stone structure seemed to glow faintly in the moonlight, adding to the eerie atmosphere. Emma decided to investigate further, feeling uneasy but determined to figure out what was happening. The whispering, the glowing carvings, and the feeling of being watched were all too strange to ignore. She wondered if the island held some sort of supernatural power. The ancient civilization might have tapped into forces she didn't understand. Emma knew she needed to stay strong and not let fear overwhelm her. She reminded herself that she had survived difficult situations before and could do so again. She decided to keep a detailed record of everything she experienced. The journals she had found in the ruins might help her understand what was happening. Emma was eager to continue her investigation. The island's secrets were slowly revealing themselves, and she was determined to uncover the truth. The unsettling phenomena only strengthened her resolve to understand the island and its history. Emma spent her days gathering food and exploring the island. She found more strange markings and discovered new areas. The island was full of mysteries, and Emma was determined to solve them. One day, while exploring the island, Emma heard a noise. It sounded like someone calling for help. She followed the sound and found a man trapped under a fallen tree. He was injured and needed help. Emma used her knife to cut the branches and free the man. He was weak and had a broken leg. Emma helped him back to her camp and gave him some food and water. The man was grateful and introduced himself as John. John explained that he had been on a boat that crashed on the island. He had been exploring when the tree fell on him. Emma was relieved to have found another person. She felt less alone and hoped they could work together to survive. Emma and John became friends. They shared their stories and worked together to find food and improve their camp. John had some survival skills, and he helped Emma with her tasks. Together, they felt more confident about their chances of surviving on the island. Emma showed John the ancient ruins and the strange carvings she had found. John was fascinated and helped Emma document their findings. They spent their days exploring the island and trying to uncover its secrets. Emma and John continued to explore the island and learn more about its history. They found more ruins and discovered new clues about the ancient civilization. The island was full of mysteries, and they were determined to solve them. One day, while exploring a new area, they found an old radio. It was broken, but John thought he could fix it. They brought it back to their camp and worked on repairing it. After many days of hard work, the radio was fixed. Emma and John used the radio to send out a distress signal. They hoped someone would hear it and come to rescue them. They waited anxiously, checking the radio every day for a response. Finally, one day, they heard a reply. A rescue team had received their signal and was on its way. Emma and John were overjoyed. They knew they would soon be rescued and could return to their normal lives. Emma felt a mix of emotions. She was happy to be rescued, but also felt a deep connection to the island. She had learned so much and discovered so many mysteries. She knew she would never forget her time on the island and the lessons she had learned. Emma and John were grateful to be home. Their friends and families were happy to see them. Emma returned to her job as a pilot, but she often thought about the island. She missed the quiet jungle and the sense of adventure. Emma and John kept in touch. They became close friends after their time on the island. They often talked about their experiences and shared their memories. Both of them felt a deep connection to the island and to each other. Emma decided to write a book about the island. She wanted to share the story of the ancient civilization and the mysteries they had discovered. She spent her evenings writing, remembering every detail of their adventure. John also found it hard to adjust to normal life. He missed the simple, focused days on the island. He decided to help Emma with her book. Together, they worked on writing and researching more about the ancient people they had found. Emma and John worked hard on the book. They included all the details about the island, the ruins, and the artifacts. They also wrote about their survival and the challenges they faced. They wanted the book to be interesting and easy to read. They used simple words and clear sentences, just like how they talked to each other. They wanted everyone to understand the story. After months of hard work, the book was finished. They titled it The Island of Secrets. Emma and John were proud of their work. They hoped the book would help people learn about the ancient civilization and the mysteries of the island. The Island of Secrets was published and became very popular. People were fascinated by Emma and John's story. The book was translated into many languages. Emma and John were invited to talk about their experiences on TV and at events. Emma felt happy that people were interested in the island. She hoped that the book would inspire others to explore and learn about history. She also felt proud of herself for surviving and telling her story. John was also pleased with the book's success. He felt that their hard work had paid off. He continued to study history and archaeology, inspired by their discoveries on the island. Emma and John decided to visit other historical sites and explore more mysteries. They travelled to different countries, learning about ancient civilizations and their stories. They felt a sense of adventure and excitement, just like on the island. During their travels, they found more interesting artifacts and learned many new things. They met other explorers and historians who shared their passion. Emma and John felt happy and fulfilled. Emma realized that her time on the island had changed her. She was stronger, more curious, and more adventurous. She felt grateful for the experience and the lessons she had learned. John also felt changed. He was more confident and determined. He felt that the island had given him a new purpose in life. He wanted to continue exploring and learning. Years passed, and Emma and John continued to explore and study history. They never forgot the island and the ancient civilization they had discovered. They knew that the island's mysteries would always be a part of their lives. Emma's book, The Island of Secrets, continued to inspire people. Many readers wrote to Emma and John, sharing their thoughts and asking questions. Emma and John were happy to answer and help others learn. The island remained a special place in Emma and John's hearts. They often talked about returning one day to learn more and see how the island had changed. They felt a deep connection to the island and its secrets. Emma and John's story showed that even in the most challenging situations, there is hope and adventure. Their journey had taught them to be strong, curious, and always ready to explore. Emma and John grew old, but their spirit of adventure never faded. They continued to explore new places and learn new things. They remained close friends, always remembering their time on the island. Their story inspired many people to follow their dreams and never give up. The island's mysteries continued to captivate and inspire people around the world. Emma and John's legacy lived on through their book and the many adventures they had shared. They knew that their journey was just the beginning, and there were always new mysteries to uncover.